And we are back, and we just finished watching 2018's Suspiria. This is rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 32 minutes. This comes to us from director Luca Guadagnino, with writing credits to Dario, Argento, Daria, Nicolodi, and David Kajganich. Sorry if I butchered your name. This is currently streaming on Prime Video. This is tagged as horror fantasy. Folk horror, psychological horror. Sorry. I think it said something like horror fantasy on Google. But according to IMDb, a darkness swirls at a center of a world-renowned dance company, one that will engulf the artistic director, an ambitious young dancer, and a grieving psychotherapist. Some will succumb to the nightmare. Others will finally wake up. This was a long film, 2 hours and 32 minutes, and it felt like it was 3 hours. I originally saw the original one from the 70s, the Argento one, and I don't remember much about it other than Jessica Harper, I think is the actress that was in it. And I remember that it was about a coven of witches, which in theory is a cool topic of discussion. However, I don't know that it was well done here. This was, production-wise, it was a pretty film. As far as ambient sort of and mood, it was decent. But the story was just so, what's the word I'm looking for?
It was convoluted. They were trying to be a little bit too artsy. They were trying to make, I guess, some sort of connection between the goings-on in the dance school and also with what was going on in Germany right after World War II, or not really right after World War II, but in the 70s when things were, I guess, going crazy. There was terrorists taking over airplanes and other stuff happening. And
I didn't feel like that added to the story at all.
It didn't add anything to the story. In fact, it was just a kind of meandering aside. I think what they were going for, from what I read, was the theme of the movie. The overarching theme was the horrors of the older generation affecting younger generations. And you have the witches' coven, which is made up of older women. It's like this matriarchal power society. And they are manipulating the young dancers. And that's sort of like what's going on. They're trying to find somebody who will fit this role. The role being, I guess, the new body for Madame Markos, right, who you never see throughout the entire movie except until the very end.
Yeah.
And then you get some nice little prosthetic effects, and they're pretty gross. And then they're trying to connect that with the horrors of World War II Germany inflicted upon the younger generations that have come after in the 70s. And they could have just done away with that. It really didn't add anything. It just felt like, oh, we're trying to make a statement, or we're trying to make this artistic connection. And it's a horror movie. Just scare me and show me some gore and some suspense and some mystery. And it's witches. Show me, you didn't need all that other stuff. So I couldn't stand it. Those parts were I was bored out of my mind. And as far as, like you said, it's a beautiful film. I think it was, direction-wise, they did a good job as far as the actors and the sets and the way the shots were composed. Yes. But as far as the way the film looked, the cinematography, crap. I hated it. It was so dark. There were so many scenes where...
Well, I think that was intentional. It was supposed
to... No, there's a difference between making a dark movie and using things like light and shadow to convey emotions. And this was just this sort of soupy grayness that was throughout everything, to the point where there were there were, please let me finish. There were several scenes where there were two girls walking through the dance school, and even though I'm looking directly at their faces, it was so muddy and dark, it was hard telling them apart.
But that's the thing. I think the things that happen within the claustrophobic world of the dance company are different. When you're outside, when they're in the restaurants having dinner, when you see the sequences with the psychotherapist, they're a little bit brighter and sharper, and even like the rememberings, I guess, of the Susie Bannion character, where she's thinking about when she was, I guess, part of the Amish community. It looks different because it's a different world. Once you get into this dark world of the dance company, it's different. I want to come to G. G, this is your first time watching this. What did you think?
I I had higher hopes for this movie, and I was disappointed. I also think Dad was right. The day after we watched it, the day after we watched it, we were talking about it, and I hated the way it was filmed.
Oh, really?
I hated it so bad. I don't really care if they're trying to tell, like, subtle messaging about the dance school's evil or whatever. I still want to be able to see what's happening.
Okay.
And it was not showing me what was happening in some of those scenes, which was frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was disappointed. I was excited when you said this was a movie about witches because I always find stuff like this interesting. Groups of women up to no good and doing weird stuff. I made a comment. I do enjoy seeing stories like that. This was just kind of dumb. I think we paused the movie and I was just like, how is he going to end this? Like, what is going to be explained? These kinds of movies are just sort of annoying. It's like, oh, you would understand this movie if you were smart or you could read between the lines or something like that. And no, you're just being confusing for the sake of being confusing.
I also just felt it was just bad storytelling. You finally reach the climax of the film where there's going to be some sort of ritual performed. And then it's like you see Markos and you're like, oh, God, that's the monster. But then suddenly another monster appears and just kills everybody. And it's sort of like, what the hell was that? And the explanation is, oh, I was her all along. And it's just like, it really just felt like a big mess at the end. That was annoying too, because we sat through all of that, and then suddenly they just serve up that as the ending, where this third party just appears, and there's not really much of an explanation as to what this third party is. I think they said that she was, I guess, the third sister or the third
mother.
The third mother.
Suspiria.
And she comes out, she does her thing, and then she goes away. And
I think she then inhabits the Susie character, because this is what Susie
that was also muddy and unclear. She's standing there and would she tear her chest open, and then suddenly she's just like, oh, I am the enlightened Earth Mother, or whatever the hell she is at the end.
Well, she was Suspiria, and then when she asked the dancers, what do you want? They just want death.
Yeah, well, they were the three dancers that she asked needed to die. They were their bodies were mutilated beyond recognition, and they were just sort of like being forced to stay alive, I guess, by magic. I mean, Chloe Grace Moretz looked like a mummy. Mm-hmm. The other one was, I'm guessing, the one that danced herself to the breaking point, and then
Olga.
And then the other one just had her guts pulled out.
Oh, Mia Goth.
Yeah. It was just a mess. It really was a mess. I mean, I understand you're talking about like supernatural rituals, and sometimes you're not going to understand stuff, and sometimes that's great. You have like this mystery, like what did that mean? But this didn't feel like that. This just felt like just some weird thing we just decided to throw in at the end, and you should have understood it. You should have understood what we were going for here, but you didn't. And yeah, I didn't. I didn't get it. I found it incredibly unsatisfying. And then at the end, they got to tie in that old guy. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to come and visit you because we feel bad about what we did to you. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to the love of your life and how she died. And now I'm going to make you forget about her completely, which is just like, she's supposed to be doing him a favor, making him forget about the one woman he loved his entire life. I mean, yeah, he knows she's dead, but at least let him keep the memories of the good times. It just was, I don't know what the hell they were going for with this movie. It was just, I did not like it.
So I watched the original one from the 70s again. I haven't seen it in a really long time. I'd have to revisit it. I don't think that I particularly liked it. Again, this is 70s Italian horror, but it was definitely shorter. It was more condensed, and you definitely had that atmosphere of like dread more throughout that film than you do in this one. I didn't find this film scary at all. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
none of the characters were compelling or interesting. I think our main protagonist is the Susie character, played by Dakota Johnson. And I feel like normally, she's always phoning it in. Here, I feel like she's actually putting in some effort but it's to no avail because the script and the entirety of the story just don't really pan out correctly
You know,
to a
it's funny
satisfying way.
when you said, yeah, it feels like she's in a lot of the stuff you see her in. It feels like she's phoning it in, and you're right, because I remember when we paused the movie, we spoke about that, and I was like, you know what? In this one, I feel like she's actually
Trying
or emoting more.
yeah.
But then at the end of the movie, she was
back to
doing
herself.
she was doing what she is. I
Always
guess like her
doing.
trademark style of this. I wish I was somewhere else. That's what she always feels to me. Like she's in a movie and she's playing the part, but there's something in her eyes that just says, "This is so stupid. I wish I was somewhere else." So yeah, at the end of the film, that's what she felt like to me.
Gee, did you find any of the young dancers compelling?
No.
No.
I thought that.
Oh, Mia Goth.
Yeah, Mia Goth.
She was better than Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
Agreed. I agree with that.
I just
100%.
like the way I just like her in some stuff.
Yeah, she's
but
a good
even
actress.
Then, it wasn't really enough for me to be like, oh wow, she's so cool or something.
Yeah, and Chloe Grace is completely underutilized. I feel like she's a great
she
young
had, like,
actress.
3 minutes of screen time, didn't she?
Yeah, and the first time you see her, it's just so chaotic. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, they were, and I don't know. I just feel like they really were trying too hard with this story.
Yes, I agree with that.
Tilda Swinton was good.
Tilda Swinton, okay.
And apparently,
yes,
which
go ahead.
I had no idea watching. I mean, the only thing I noticed when I was watching this movie was the psychotherapist who's credited.
Litvin.
Who's the actor that played him?
Oh, Lutz Ebersdorf.
Yeah, Lutz Ebersdorf. The one thing that I noticed about him was that I'm like, why is this guy wearing so many prosthetics on his face? And I thought maybe it's because he's actually a young actor, and they filmed some scenes when he was a young man or something like that.
Which they show flashbacks of him with the wife, but I agree
later
with you.
Later on, I find out no. It's because Lutz Doofendorf, or whatever his name is, Ebersdorf, is actually Tilda Swinton. It was Tilda Swinton the whole damn time.
What?
That old psychiatrist was Tilda Swinton.
He sounded like a woman. I knew it. There's
Did
that
he?
scene.
I didn't notice that.
No. I thought I was going crazy. There was this scene where it's after he goes to the police to report that, what was it, Olga? What was her Sara was missing? The one that went missing.
Patricia, I think.
Patricia, that's her name. When he goes to the police and talks about Sara being missing, and then he leaves, he's on the stairs, and he's like, "Oh, you're the officer that helped with my wife," or something. I thought one of the witches like possessed him or something and was talking through him because he sounded like a woman.
Oh, interesting. I never noticed that.
I even asked. I was like, "Does he sound different?" And nobody said anything. So. Yeah, he sounded like a lady.
Oh, wow. I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either. I did not know it was Tilda Swinton until I looked up some research on this thing. And apparently that was like a big thing. Like,
why did they call her Lutz, though?
In the movie, that role is credited to a made-up male actor.
Yeah,
because
why
did they do that?
They wanted to keep it a secret for some reason.
What? That's so stupid.
And she also played Markos. Yeah.
I could see that one. I mean, I didn't notice it when I watched the movie, but I could see that. Man.
So that's
so weird. Why didn't they just get
the best thing about this film is obviously Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
And she played 3
characters. And that fact is the only really interesting thing about this movie.
I would agree 1,000%. I mean, we did like Mia Goth.
She was okay, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not like as though, Mia Goth saved this movie. Thank God she was in it. It was just she was actually a character that you were kind of thinking, I maybe I could root for this character, because honestly, I didn't really feel much for Susie Bartlett there. That was her name,
Not at
Bannion.
all.
I think.
Susie Bannion, whatever her last name was, but I didn't really feel much for her. I mean, she had some sort of weird upbringing. I guess she was like a Mennonite or an Amish
Yeah, she was
kid.
something. Yeah.
I think they were talking about the Mennonites or something. She
Yeah,
had that weird conversation
and her
with
mom
Tilda
was
Swinton.
like dying or something, and had to renounce her. Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
This movie was weird.
Right? Didn't the mother on her deathbed say something like, "This is my
last curse on the world," or
right,
something,
my shame.
daughter.
Yeah, my daughter, that I brought this daughter into the world.
It's just like whatever.
Yeah, there's not really much like why was the mom so pissed off about that?
Yeah, they don't really go into it. This is one of those films where I guess, to your point, it's like, oh, you should have gotten this. It's right there, but it's really not, and it's probably, it thinks it's more than it is, kind of. Yeah, I didn't care for this,
Me neither.
and it's not horror. It's not. I mean, I would
it
consider
has some horror elements to
Sure.
it. Yeah.
Sure, like the sequence with Olga in the room dancing.
Olga, the monster effects.
Monster effects. Okay.
The weird part where Mia Goth finds Patricia.
Oh,
and
right,
there's
right.
That
Yeah.
thing on the floor, the person on the floor.
Right.
What was the other, the one without feet? Was that Olga?
Maybe.
I don't.
That was
know.
that's another reason why I hated the way this film was shot, because I couldn't really tell what was going on. There was
It's
just
not
some
at all.
other person, and I didn't know if it was, is that the creepy thing that was like raising its hand when
Well, I think the three-
Susie was dancing.
But I think the three things that were, or the three people that were standing there when Susie transitions to Suspiria,
Yeah, that's Olga,
Olga,
Patricia,
Sarah, and Patricia.
and Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't make clear who that other person in, what was it, like a crypt or something? I don't even know what kind of place that was.
It was like, there was like all these secret corridors and areas in that school. Because I think when Sarah was exploring, she was going to a place where she shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like the way anything looked. I'm with G. If you're gonna, I understand sometimes you wanna differentiate locales and make one place look weird or something like that, but to do it at the expense of clarity always pisses me off.
This movie, according to IMDb, did not do well at all. The budget on this was $20 million, and the gross worldwide was less than 8. So, whatever studio this is attributed to took a bath on this sucker. If I'm going to give this a number from 1 to 10, because I really don't feel like there's much to say here. If I was going to give this a number from 1 to 10, I would probably give this a 4. Gigi, what would you say?
3.
I also would give it a 3. There's not much to like here. If I had to pick things that I thought were okay or cool, I would probably say Markos's design. She was gross.
Yeah.
I didn't like, she had weird little hands growing out of her, which it's unexplained, but that's the sort of
fine.
unexplained that I'm perfectly fine with. She's just so old and evil and disgusting that she has like hands growing out of her body.
Yeah. They never explained that other teacher that killed herself. Like, what that was.
Oh my God, I forgot the lady who just stood up at dinner and just started stabbing herself in the
That
neck.
was so annoying. They never ever
Yeah.
explain why.
Yeah, she and
I
like
thought
they
she
show
was
her.
Markos for a second.
Yeah, they show her throughout the film just like staring, pensively
Being
at
off to the
people
side,
and
looking all
like
disturbed and whatnot.
clutching her hands, and then suddenly she just decides, all right, I'm done
She
with this
decides
movie.
today's the day.
Yeah. I think she's just like, I'm done with this movie, and she just stabbed herself, and they just covered up the actress's death.
Yeah.
She knew she was in a stinker.
Yeah, this wasn't good. And
the only other thing I thought was somewhat interesting was the dance routines. The way they were dancing was like very strange and like somehow jerky, but also smooth and
It's that modern
interesting.
dance business. I
Yeah,
bet.
it was. They were doing some like weird things with their body that was interesting to look at.
Mhm.
But other than that, yeah, avoid this. It's a 3.
Yeah. You know what? I think I might change my number to a 3 as well. I think from start to finish, this is work. This is a lot of work.
Yeah.
This is not entertainment, and it's pretty unsatisfying. It's unfortunate because we're starting our lady horror era, and this was not a good film to start it with, but we committed, and this, again, is our opinion of the films. It's just a 3. It's just a 3. You're better served watching other stuff. I think the film that we're going to put on tomorrow is way better. So stick around for that. So again, Suspiria from 2018, currently streaming on Prime Video. I think this is a Prime production, Prime Studios.
Yeah.
2 hours and 32 minutes. It felt a lot longer, gang. It's rated R. There's some, I guess, body horror and gore. I didn't think it was scary, though. I didn't find it particularly scary.
No, not at all.
I think the Olga dance sequence at the beginning kind of left me a little clutching my pearls, like, ooh, what happened there? But for the rest of it, it was just very eh. All right, so that's it from us. And please, if you like what you're listening to, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell us in the comments. Maybe we're wrong. Who knows? Was this good? Was it not good? Have you seen the 70s one? Is it better? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And with that, we'll wrap it up and bid you all a
Good night.
Good night.
good night.